A long, long time ago, in Kijito Court, a noisy face me I face you compound in the heart of Nairobi, Kenya. Peace tried to live there, but gossip and rumor said no. They refused to let it rest. The compound had the usual features: a very narrow corridor where you must turn sideways if two people meet, shared bathrooms that always had someone knocking and waiting to enter. He had clothesline stretching from the sky like flags of different countries, and children running up and down like they were training for Olympics. By the door, Wanjiku the tailor sat at her sewing machine, crossed her legs and fixed her eyes everywhere. That woman could sew a dress and study a neighbor's full course problem at the same time. In fact, multitasking was her calling. Beside her, on a plastic chair that has survived too many visitors, sat Mama Shiro, a big woman who came from the village for the weekend. But she had stayed for 2 good months. She always had a cup of tea in her hand. It didn't matter if it was hot afternoon. Tea was just her personality. And at the far end was Babu, the compound's lawyer. He was pretending to be reading an old newspaper from 2018. Paralegal by certificate, lawyer by attitude. That was an ordinary day. Until Asha arrived. She entered quietly with a big suitcase, a big blue bucket, and a handbag tucked under her arm. She was beautiful, neatly dressed. She looked calm, and she looked like someone who had 9 to 5 job where people said kindly advice in emails. She smiled softly. Habari, good afternoon. Then she walked straight to her new room and closed her door gently. Wanjiku paused her machine. This one looks private though, she whispered. Mama Shiro sipped her tea and said, private? She looks like she doesn't even greet neighbors more than once. They laughed. But, like play, Asha did not come out again for the whole day. Asha's routine shocked everybody because they were not used to this. She left at 6 a.m. every morning with her handbag. She returned at 6 p.m. or 7-ish, entered her room and closed the door. She doesn't sit outside, doesn't do small talk. She doesn't interact with her neighbors at all. Even when children cried loudly, she didn't even peep outside, let alone ask what was wrong. Babu shook his head one evening and said, these Nairobi girls, they mind their business too aggressively. Mama Shiro added, if her neighbor fainted outside her door, she will step over her and go to work. They laughed again, but the truth is, they thought she was just a quiet person, so they let her be. What they did not know was that this her quietness could get to the extent it did until one day. It was on a Wednesday afternoon. One neighbor, Otile, had left gas leaking in the communal kitchen. When he came back to cook mandazi, the next thing he heard was poof! The gas sparked fire. Well, it was a small accident because he was able to contain it in time, but it caused some panic. People screamed and water splashed everywhere. Children ran out shouting, fire, fire. And then, in the middle of all this chaos, the bathroom door opened and Asha stepped out with a towel over her shoulder. She looked at the commotion once. Then, she quietly turned left and walked to her room with her bucket as if nothing was happening. Wanjiku shouted over the fire, hi, this one, even Polezango she cannot see. Eh? Mama Shiro then added, you people, this lady is eyes, oh, she is eyes block. No emotion at all. But Asha didn't even look back. She kept walking straight to her room. Okay, that's one passed though. Then another day, in the evening, Kenyan power disconnected the compound for an illegal connection the landlord pretended not to know about. People were angry. Their phones were dying. So landlord called an emergency meeting. Everybody bring stool, come outside. We must contribute something for the electrician. Soon, the corridor was full. Plastic chairs were everywhere. Mama Shiro even brought biscuits to chew during arguments. But only one person was missing, Asha. So, Wanjiku knocked by her door, gently. Asha, we are having a meeting. But from inside, Asha replied, I'm not feeling too well. You people decide, okay? Decide what is good. And that was it. Yet, after the meeting, when the power came back, her light was the first to come on. Mama Shiro hissed. So she wants to enjoy the fruits of labor she didn't contribute to. Okay. As if that wasn't enough. The incident that sealed her reputation was still gymming and getting ready to manifest. One evening, Babu was standing at the gate, arguing with two police officers. It started small, like play, like joke. They asked him who he was, and he answered them with too much grammar. So they thought he was showing pride, and their temper rose. Soon, the officers were threatening to take him to the station for obstruction of peace in the environment. Babu panicked. Then, immediately, he saw Asha approaching from the road, holding her office handbag, and he felt so relieved. Thank God, Asha. Please, tell them I live here. Just tell them I'm a tenant like you. Asha stopped, looked at him, and looked at the officers. Then, in her calm, tired voice, she said, I'm sorry, I don't like getting involved in people's issues. Good evening. She entered the compound and closed her door. Man, the silence she left behind could fry chapati. Babu was shocked. He felt so bad that his own neighbor could just leave him in the face of danger when she could have just said one sentence, just one sentence. Well, the officers eventually left after the landlord came out. But Babu's embarrassment that day entered his bloodstream. Later, he ranted to Mama Shiro and said, next time she needs help, I will also mind my business. Because, balance makes the world go around. Well, life in Kijito courtyard continued like a small radio station. And slowly, Asha's behavior started planting silent bitterness around the compound. Nobody argued with her directly. Nobody confronted her. But people kept small offense the way they kept extra plastic bags in the kitchen drawer, just in case. So, it happened that same week, Asha went to the shared bathroom to bring in her bucket. And it was gone. Not misplaced, and definitely not borrowed. It was just gone, as if it had legs. She marched back into the corridor, annoyed for the first time since she moved in. Excuse me, please, did anybody see my bucket? It was right here. All the neighbors turned into philosophers of silence. Some pretended to be busy. Some rearranged their slippers. But when she kept asking and expecting a reply, Wanjiku finally decided to reply her. We didn't see Asha because all of us, we were minding our business, just like you. Those words landed like a slap dipped in ice water. Asha blinked. She was shocked. But truth, they say, is attacking to the ears. So she swallowed her irritation and walked back to her room. For a moment, she felt a tiny twist inside her chest, a small sting of guilt, but she pushed it away. No time to nurse sadness in her books. She kept to her routine, kept her distance, and kept her walls high. Meanwhile, the shared water tap between Kijito Court's compound and the next compound were always busy on Saturday mornings. Women queued with buckets, Children played with soap bubbles, and chickens wandered around like they owned the place. Asha came early that day to fetch water for washing before work. Then she decided to wash there as it seemed more convenient. As she was washing, she was spreading the clean and washed ones on the line. Then, a few minutes later, Mama Candy, a slightly short and troublesome woman from the neighboring compound, arrived with her yellow jerrycan. As usual, one of her chickens trotted behind her, pecked the ground, and shook its feathers like a diva. So, while Asha rinsed her skirt, the chicken suddenly flapped its wings and splashed muddy water right onto her freshly washed clothes. Asha froze, staring at the stain that spread on the white fabric she had just finished washing. She took a breath and spoke in a controlled voice. Please, Mama, hold your chicken. My washed clothes are getting dirty. Mama Candy turned sharply, raising her eyebrows as if she had been insulted in public. So now you are too clean for us, Abby? Oh, wait, you think you're better than the people here? Asha was surprised by her reaction. No, that's not what I meant. I just don't want to rewash everything. But Mama Candy was already offended. Her pride was boiling faster than her morning tea. I knew it. These quiet ones, they look innocent, but they have pride hidden in their bones. If my chicken touches your clothes, will the world end? Asha's face remained calm. She didn't shout back. She simply lifted the skirt, rinsed out the dirty water, and carried her basin toward her room. But hey, her silence and non-reaction only made Mama Candy angrier. Wanjiku and Mama Shiro exchanged a look from the corridor. Both of them were already sensing that this small moment had planted something deeper than just a little annoyance. A seed had been dropped that morning, and that would be the fastest seed to germinate. In fact, it would win the Guinness Book of Records because this particular seed germinated and got harvested in less than 2 days. On Friday evening, around 8:30 p.m., Asha returned back from work, tired, carrying a black polythene bag filled with her usual groceries, chapati, eggs, and a small packet of milk. She came back and, fiam, she went to her room. And just outside the gate, Mama Candy's favorite chicken was tied near the alley as always, standing proudly like a night guard. That chicken behaved like it paid rent. Everybody knew it. Much later in the night, there was a short "Kokoroko" that echoed across the two compounds. Then silence followed. One neighbor who was on her way to fetch water even paused with her bucket and listened for a second time, then shrugged because they heard no further sound. Then by 6 a.m. on Saturday, the real drama began. Mama Candy stepped out to give her chicken morning maize. But when she reached the spot, she froze. Then her voice tore through the entire neighborhood. My chicken! My chicken is gone! Thief! Thief! Oh! Somebody hold me because I could kill a lot right now. Hold me! Oh! People began to open their windows, little by little, just to know what was going on. Wanjiku nearly sold her own finger while trying to download and swallow all the gist. Within minutes, Mama Candy was marching up and down like an angry police officer. So, she began to search for her chicken. While on it, she saw a small trail of feathers leading towards the drainage pipe near the wall that connected to Asha's own corridor. To make matters worse, the shopkeeper at the corner volunteered information willingly because shopkeepers always know something. They see everything. Listen, I didn't see the face, but last night I saw a slim woman wearing a headscarf, passing with something in a bag. It looked like a bird. Me, now wait till I see, or I can't say for sure. But Mama Candy didn't need more clues. In her mind, everything connected perfectly. Slim woman, black bag, proud new tenant who already disrespected her. Case closed. Without asking a single question, without confirming anything, she pointed dramatically towards Kijito Court, like a detective in a low-budget movie. It is that Asha. I knew it. I said it. Quiet people have the biggest problems. And her voice started rising again. Police! Police, oh! Somebody call police for me. By the time the first neighbors gathered, Mama Candy had already judged, sentenced, and executed the case all by herself. The chicken was gone. The suspect was chosen, and the compound was about to see a weekend none of them would ever forget. By Saturday morning, Mama Candy had gathered enough anger to power a small generator. She stormed into Kijito Court like she paid rent for everyone there. Where is that Asha? Where is she? Today, she will see fire. Just wait. She marched straight to Asha's door and banged as if she wanted to remove the hinges. Inside, Asha was still half asleep. She opened the door wearing a big t-shirt. Her hair was messy and she looked confused. Then, Mama Candy began. You stole my chicken yesterday night. Jeez, from where to where? I didn't steal anything. Why would I? Keep quiet! I saw you coming with a black paper bag. You think we are fools, eh? My chicken is gone and you are the only slim woman working at night. I am calling the police, oh. I have another eyewitness, so I must call the police for you, except you provide my chicken right this minute. Asha was shocked to the bones. Meanwhile, the entire compound transformed into live audience. Doors began to open and heads began to pop out like CCTV cameras. But even as they listened, they still pretended to be busy. Wanjiku pretended to be adjusting thread on her machine. Mama Shiro sipped tea so loudly it sounded very intentional. Asha looked around desperately, expecting someone, anyone, to defend her. Her eyes finally landed on Babu, the compound's lawyer, standing at his door like a security guard of wisdom. She waited for him to speak, but Babu folded his arms tighter and kept his chin up. Before she could gather her thoughts, a police van came in. Well, turns out Mama Candy had a cousin at the station whom she called, so the matter traveled faster than gossip. Then, 2 police officers stepped out. Are you Asha? Yes, but you are under arrest on suspicion of theft of a domestic animal. Asha almost collapsed. Please let me call Babu. He's a lawyer here. He knows me. Then the officer turned to Babu. You are Babu? Yes, I am. But I'm not involved. I don't know anything about this matter. Chai! This one, it hit home. Wanjiku looked down. Mama Shiro took another long dramatic sip of tea. Everyone else suddenly remembered they had pots on fire, clothes to wash, and hairs to comb. They all did exactly what Asha had been doing for weeks. They minded their businesses like professionals. Still begging and trying to explain, Asha was taken into the police vehicle and boom, they drove away. It was Saturday morning, the worst time to enter police cell. Everyone knew what that meant, but nobody said a word. Well, at the station, they processed her quickly, sharp. Asha tried to explain the misunderstanding, but the sergeant did not even give her a chance. Madam, today is Saturday. The complainant has not withdrawn, and we can't release you without proper statements. So, You have to wait until Monday. That sentence alone, it made her legs weak. They opened the cell door, and the smell inside warned her that the weekend ahead would not be friendly. The floor was dusty. There were two torn mattresses leaning against the wall like they had retired from life. Inside were three women. Each had a story written on their face. One was a drunk lady sleeping diagonally across the floor. Another with rough hair muttered some threats under her breath. This one was clearly arrested for fighting. The third one was an older woman with grey braids and a smile too calm for the environment. Asha stepped in slowly, clutching her handbag until an officer said, "Madam, leave the handbag, okay? We will help you hold on to it until you are free." She sat in a corner, hugged her knees and tried not to cry too loudly. The older woman smiled softly and then tried to speak to her. When she heard the reason she was there, she simply told her, "My daughter, relax. You are not the first or the last. In this life, you need people. Even if you like being quiet and on your own, still stay involved. Help out when you can and involve yourself in things that you need to involve yourself in." Do you understand what I mean? Asha nodded, feeling a little bit better for the friendship she already had with the granny. After some hours, Asha gathered enough courage and went to the bars to speak to the policeman. Please, officer, can you help me call someone in my compound? His name is Babu. He's a lawyer. Or even Wanjiku, the tailor. They will explain for me. They would vouch for me. I am their neighbor. I don't steal." The officer frowned, but out of pity, she took Asha's small scribbled number, stepped outside and dialed. Asha waited, holding her breath. The officer returned in a few minutes and her face said everything before she even opened her mouth. "I called the man, Babu, and he said, and I quote, 'She's just someone I share compound with. She doesn't like getting involved with people. So let me also mind my business now.'" He said he cannot comment. Asha felt the words cut straight through her chest. Not even the cell hurt as much as that line. She sat down on the floor slowly, crying without shame. Nobody from Kijito Court called back. Nobody asked about her. Nobody even tried to check if it was okay or to speak up for her and say that she wasn't a thief. For the rest of the Saturday and all through Sunday, she sat in that corner, thinking, regretting, replaying every time she had walked past someone's trouble, as if life was a hallway with no doors. The drunk woman snored loudly. The fighter kept shadowboxing in her sleep. It was a lot. Asha barely slept, barely ate any rubbish she was served, and she barely spoke to anybody. By Sunday night, her pride had melted like cheese completely. She whispered softly, "God, if I come out of here, I will not live like a ghost again, oh. She waited for Monday morning with a mind that had learned something new. That sometimes minding your business too hard and in the wrong way leaves you with no one to call when trouble knocks on your door. By Monday morning, the long-awaited Monday morning, Asha looked like someone who had fought life, and life fought back even harder. The officers finally called her to the desk for a full-on statement. She sat down, cleared her throat, and explained everything gradually, step by step. "I went to work, came back around 8. I bought chapati and eggs and entered my room. I cooked and I slept. I did not touch anybody's chicken. In fact, I've not even eaten chicken for the past 1 month." The sergeant nodded slowly, like a disappointed father. But before they even finished writing, a young boy from Mama Candy's compound was dragged by the ear by an angry neighbor. Apparently, the boy had cracked under pressure and confessed. I saw the chicken, oh, I sold it to the suya guy at the corner of the street. I needed the money. It's not her. She doesn't even greet us. The whole station burst into a small laughter, except for Asha, who didn't find it funny. She looked like she wanted to use stone and design the boy's head and then evaporate from that prison. The officers went to ask the suya guy at the street, and he confirmed that chicken was sold to him by the boy. So, the evidence was clear. The sergeant glared at Mama Kendi, who suddenly looked confused about her own life decisions. Madam, next time, investigate before shouting thief up and down. You almost punished an innocent person for crying out loud. Mama Kendi tried to defend herself, but she acted suspicious. Quiet people are hiding things. The officer cut her off immediately. The only thing she hides is her peace of mind. But you, be very careful. Next time, you will be the one to land in these cells. Do you hear me? And just like that, they released Asha. Asha stepped out of the building quietly, holding the same handbag she carried in. And then she took in some deep breath. Asha returned to Kijito Court on Monday afternoon, looking like someone who had survived a 3-day seminar on suffering. Her eyes were swollen, clothes were wrinkled, and she smelled of cell and regret. Some neighbors pretended they hadn't even noticed she was gone. Suddenly, 2 children ran to the corridor shouting, "She's back! The auntie who went to the police is back!" Their mothers dragged them inside and closed the door. Nobody approached Asha, but nobody jeered as well. Everyone just kept quiet. Soon, it was nighttime, and all of a sudden, the power went off. Everyone rushed out with their candles, lanterns, phones, in fact, anything that glowed, so that they can, inspect and know if it was something that was easily fixable. Then, something nobody expected happened. Asha stepped out of her room, holding a tiny flashlight. Then she said softly, "Do you people need extra light? I can hold it for you." Every head turned. When Jiko blinked, Mama Shiro's mouth fell open and Babu looked up, surprised. Asha stood there, helping until they fixed the light issue. She didn't do anything much, just her presence alone was enough to show that at least she cared, that she was part of them. Early morning the next day, Mama Shiro, on her way to fetch water, tripped over a stone on the corridor and landed on her side dramatically with a shout, "Yay!" Before anyone else reacted, Asha dropped her bucket and rushed to her. "Polizangu, Mama, are you hurt? Let me help you get up." The neighbors stared as if witnessing a solar eclipse. The same woman who once walked past a gas explosion without blinking now helped someone without being asked. God of wonders, oh, ha! Later that afternoon, Asha walked to Babu's door and knocked gently. He opened slowly, looking very surprised to see Asha by his door. Asha spoke first. You had every right to ignore me. I did the same to you. But last weekend taught me something. And I just want to say I'm sorry for that day with the police. It was totally wrong what I did. Babu looked at her, feeling a little bit happy and impressed with her boldness and maturity. Well, I must say that I went too far as well, Even if someone minds their business, police matter is not a joke. So next time I will come, okay? Please, there will not be next time, oh, Asha said, laughing. Babu laughed as well. And from then on, even though Asha did not change who she was, she still cherished her peace, still loved her privacy, but she greeted more and she attended meetings sometimes. And when trouble happened, she didn't just walk past with stone eyes like an ice queen. She started showing up for her neighbors little by little in her own way. And in return, the compound softened towards her as well. People stopped gossiping harshly. And quietly, without any big announcement, Kijito Court learned something simple. If you always close your door on people, your own day of knocking might be very lonely and everyone will turn their backs on you. And this leads me to the moral of the story. Yes, being a private person is very valid. It's not everyone that will be chatty and loud and friendly, and that is okay. But seeing your neighbor hurting or in a situation where you can help, no matter how little, that your help can go a long way. But if you choose to ignore and look the other way just because you are private, then that is where you might be getting it wrong. Because if that same energy is returned, I'm sure it won't feel nice. Well, that is my personal opinion. What's yours? Please tell me in the comments below. Also, which country should we visit next, paddies? Just let me know in the comments as well, okay? And then, if you have ideas on the kind of stories you would want to watch on this channel, kindly write it down below as well, and I will do my best to work on something just for you, my paddy. Okay? I love you all so much. And don't forget to share this story with everyone you know. Everyone deserves to learn a thing or two. Okay? Until next time, my paddies. Remember, don't let anyone dim your shine. Ngwanu, bye.